Every time I think Nintendo's nearly done with their bullshit, I get proven wrong aggressively. I am so tired of this. As a lifelong Nintendo fan, I cannot believe the straight up disdain they have for their community at times, specifically the emulator community. Realistically speaking, the Switch has not been the best way to play Switch games for a while, and it seems like Nintendo is very upset about that. We heard earlier this year about how they went after the emulator Yuzu, but it seemed like some of the other emulators, as well as the general emulator community, were safe. That is no longer the case. Not only is Nintendo going after YouTube channels that showcase emulators, not even giving you instructions on how to pirate the games, just showing you what they look like on a console, they went after the safe emulator. Ryujinx has now been taken down as well. I want to cover all of this because it's absurd, and I hate seeing my fellow YouTube friends, as well as my fellow open source devs, getting attacked by Nintendo's bullshit. It's infuriating. So yeah, let's dive in. First, I want to talk about Retro Game Corps. I love this channel. The fact that we have a channel like this is just pure luck, honestly. I don't know how to put it into words, but like Retro Game Corps is a niche channel that covers all of the handheld emulator consoles. He's the go-to channel and blog covering Retroid, covering Ambernic, covering Neo, covering the crazy stuff going on with Analog. If you're deep in the world of emulators, you've probably watched multiple of his channels, and you might have even followed some of his guides. The amount that this emulator community is riding on him is genuinely difficult to put into words. And seeing him become one of the most relevant YouTubers in the whole gaming space after reading his blog for years has been so heartwarming. And I just want to take the time to shout out Russ, because this channel is awesome. And if you're nerdy about these same things, you should be watching this channel. It's especially important to support him now because he just got 2 strikes from Nintendo. For those who don't understand the way that YouTube's copyright system works, when a copyright holder tries to flag a video, they have 2 options. Either they can hit the "we'll negotiate and give them 1 week" button, or they can hit the nuclear button, which is take the video down and put a mark on their channel. And if your channel gets 3 marks, it's gone forever. So you can lose your whole career if you get 3 strikes. It is a terrifying thing. And because of that, almost nobody does that big nasty strike button. Most people, what they do is just hit the general copyright dispute button, both because it doesn't kill the channel and because there's a path there where you can get revenue from the ads being served on that. But that's not what they did to Russ. They want his channel gone. They don't want the videos gone. They want his channel gone. So some real quick important context on why it seems like things are going nuclear. MIG Flash just put out a new flash card called the MIG Flash V2. It was called the Switch V2 until Nintendo went after them. What this cartridge does is it lets you take a game dump from a Switch game, put it on an SD card, and then put this in a totally unhacked Switch and be able to play games directly. So yeah, very useful device for backing up your games if you're the type that likes to do that. I know I would have... It's funny to say, but I would have bought a lot more physical games if this existed when the Switch came out, because I would have dumped the physical games, put them on this, and then had this as my main way of playing stuff, so I didn't have to carry 15 physical games with me all the time. On top of that, it's worth noting that if you play pirated copies of games, Nintendo's aggressively keeping an eye on those and flagging and banning consoles that play a version with a license that is from one of those pirated copies. So if you're not dumping legit cartridges and putting them on here, you might be fucked. So Nintendo's not happy about this, to be very clear. They're going very ham on this. And that's where this current arc started. Retro Game Corps obviously did a video covering this because it fully falls within the things that he covers. And Nintendo copyright struck the video. And the way that they were able to do that is because he was playing Nintendo games in the video, showcasing it. And they DMCA struck his gameplay of their game, claiming that their games is their copyright. So he isn't able legally to play it in his videos, even though everyone else can. It's just a retaliatory strike. Technically speaking, any game dev could strike any YouTuber showcasing their game in their videos unless they have explicit permission from the game developer. But no one does that. It's just insane. I've never seen anything like this ever. And I can't believe they're doing this way. One more thing I forgot to mention is if your channel gets struck, it's not like you can just go make a new one. You as an individual are banned from YouTube forever. So if you get 3 strikes on a channel, you don't get to do YouTube anymore. Genuinely terrifying stuff. So this happened. You could make the argument that he was showing tools for piracy specifically, and Nintendo was really sensitive about that, which sucks. And if this was just a one-time thing with this one video and them going after the cartridge, I would probably not be covering this. But with Nintendo, it's never just one thing. It's never they hit a threshold and are pushing back. It seems like they're on a bit of a bender because they took down one of his videos a few days later because he was just playing Wind Waker. So now if he plays any Nintendo game, they might DMCA strike him and he might lose his channel entirely. Here's his post that he made on the YouTube community. Hi friends. Well, it does appear that my worst fears are true and I'm being specifically targeted by Nintendo. If almost anyone said that they felt like they were being targeted by Nintendo, I would call them a conspiracy theorist. He is. He is absolutely being targeted by Nintendo. There's no conspiracy theory here. This is just what is happening. My Wii U video was taken down and I received another copyright strike, even though the showcase video was no different than all of the tech demos and reviews I've made on this channel previously. I am still considering a counterclaim under fair use, as the video was for educational use, transformative in nature, and it had no effect on the market. It was a demonstration of a console no longer for sale. Even the Wii U eShop is closed, so the company itself has no means of earning revenue from Wii U sales. However, I'm reluctant to open that can of worms with a multi-billion-dollar corporation, as their next step would be to file legal action. At the very least, this means I'm going to change how I approach future videos. I will no longer show any Nintendo games on screen, which is a shame because I love using those games for my hardware demonstrations. I don't know how this will play out when it comes to showing things like the ESD front-end themes that contain Nintendo characters, but for now, I'm going to focus on actual gameplay. I'm also going through the videos I'm working on and blurring out any Nintendo game content as a precaution, even innocuous content like NES games. Unfortunately, this is going to delay some video releases. My latest video should be up right now, but instead I have to re-edit and re-upload the video first. I know this is disappointing news, but now with 2 strikes on my channel, I don't really have any other choice except to adjust accordingly. Thanks for your understanding. I just cannot believe that this happened. To do this to a YouTuber who's a huge fan of Nintendo is hard to fathom. This reminds me of when they went after Point Crow. I'm not one to say boycott the company, but I am much more hesitant to buy Nintendo things going forward, knowing that this is how they treat people who are the strongest enthusiasts and the ones trying their hardest to preserve the entire Nintendo ecosystem. And once again, Russ's info's in the description. Please go give him a subscription. Please watch a few of his videos. I think you'll be surprised how absurdly good and detailed they are. He's one of the most thorough reviewers in the industry. And he's just doing, like the amount of money he's making on that channel is nothing compared to the effort he's putting in. So for Nintendo to go after him like this and make his job that much harder, it deeply disturbs me. It is so, as a fellow YouTuber, the thought of a company making my life this much harder for this dumb of a reason, it makes me feel sick. And Russ, I hope you know how much we appreciate you and how horrible this is. You're one of my biggest inspirations for doing YouTube, and seeing this happen to you sucks. It sucks so hard. And know that I and others are prepared to stand with you and fight. This sucks. This just fucking sucks. But that's not the only thing they did. Nintendo also decided to go after the remaining emulator, Ryujinx. For a bit more context from before, Nintendo took down Yuzu earlier this year because people were using it to play the new Zelda game before it was even out, and the version that worked for that game was behind a Patreon paywall. And it seems like Nintendo's specific trigger is people making money off of what they see as piracy and directly hurting their sales. I can hear the argument there. I still think it's kind of annoying, but I can hear the argument. None of that is what happened with Ryujinx. Ryujinx is not behind a paywall. I don't even know if they have a Patreon. I'm pretty sure they don't. It is a pure, traditional, open source project that has a lot of people working hard to preserve Switch games indefinitely. And they have been told to take it down. Yesterday, GDK Chan was contacted by Nintendo and was offered an agreement to stop working on the project, remove the organization, and all related assets he's in control of. While awaiting confirmation on whether he would take this agreement, the organization has been removed, so I think it's safe to say what the outcome is. Rather than leave you with only panic and speculation, I decided to write this short message to give some closure. These words are my own. I don't want to speak for anyone else here, so just remember that while reading. Thank you to everyone who has contributed code, documentation, or issue reports to this project. Thank you all for following us throughout this development. So able to learn a lot of really neat things about the games that I love, enjoy them with renewed qualities and in unique circumstances. And I'm sure you all have experiences that are similarly special. I'm extending my own massive thanks to our moderation team, who has been here through some rough circumstances and always found ways to make light of it. Almost forgot to mention, Nintendo's getting into even more frivolous bullshit right now. They're actually going after Pal World. I can't believe this. I filmed a video when Pal World came out. Check it out. I'm actually really proud of that video. I think I killed it on that one. Regardless, Pal World is entirely in the clear. I cannot imagine a company that that handled this better. Like, Pal World is not infringing on anyone's trademarks. Anybody looking at it and thinking that it's actually Nintendo's IP is saying such because they're being paid to. Pal World is without question its own unique IP, and the thought of Nintendo going after them for that shows just how litigious they're feeling at the moment. Apparently, it's a patent thing. Yeah, they're going after them from patent infringement. Apparently, the mechanic of catching a Pokemon is a patent that they have, and Nintendo thinks that they can go after them for that. Clearly, they've been thinking for a long time, like, how can we do this? And it also feels like they took all of their litigious bullshit and bundled it all at once, which is insane. I cannot believe this. Apparently, with Japanese copyright law, it's not unlikely they can win this, which is even more bullshit. But yeah, this is just insanity. I can't believe this is going on. Ugh. They registered this patent in 2021, 30 years after the original Pokemon games. That is such bullshit. God. And no, but before people start saying this, because I do every time, there are so many forks. People can just maintain the forks. No. The people who are capable of building things like this, maintaining them, pushing them as far as they've been pushed, those people don't take these risks lightly. The types of developers who are talented enough to reverse engineer the Switch and build something like Ryujinx or Yuzu are not the types of devs that'll put their whole lives at risk because they like playing video games. It's just not realistic. The task is already hard enough. Nintendo making it this much harder is not making them more motivated. It's making them significantly less so. And the likelihood that we see some new devs take on this challenge and do as good of a job, knowing that Nintendo's breathing down their necks the whole time, it's not low, it's zero. For the time being, this is the end of Switch emulation. Sure, you can go play the old builds of these emulators. Sure, some new games will work. But a future where these tools are getting meaningful updates as time goes on, it's not going to happen. It's over. And Nintendo, it sucks, but they won. I don't know what they win here. They achieved their goal. They have demotivated the emulator community to the point where people are just going to not show Nintendo stuff to the best of their ability. And I've seen plenty of other Nintendo adjacent YouTubers restructuring everything. But this reminds me of the old days where Nintendo would go after random YouTube channels for just playing a game. It seems like they've fully lost the plot. I know that the culture where they are is different, that the ability to go after people for copyright is much stronger, and the culture around fair use and doing these types of things is not the same in Japan. But it doesn't excuse the absolute terrible behavior they're engaging with here, crushing the dreams of individuals who are trying to make these things that they love accessible to more people over longer windows of time. Right now, I can't say for sure if I'll be able to show my children my favorite Switch games in 10 years, because the work that Nintendo has done to destroy every preservation effort is impossible to work around. So to all of the developers and all of the creators who have been affected by this, I am truly, truly sorry. And to Nintendo, fuck you.